My husband decided to work away from home, and though I felt lonely, I firmly believed in the bond between us as a couple. However, as time passed and he returned home less frequently, my trust in him began to wane. When I confronted him to uncover the truth, he told unbelievable lies and avoided taking responsibility. I've resolved not to let him get away with such cowardly behavior. How will our conflict unfold? It turns out my husband was having an affair during his business trips. It was serious enough that I had to inform everyone. I often heard stories here about husbands cheating during business trips or wives cheating while visiting their parents after childbirth. But personally, I'm always alert to such things as I can't imagine cheating on someone. I thought it only applied to people who really put effort into their appearance, or maybe those naturally blessed with considerable beauty. Because I couldn't imagine older men and women easily having affairs or rather romantic relationships. From my perspective, being married meant excluding oneself from being a romantic interest. Once I became a married person myself, I never looked at other men in that way. Well, maybe just a quick glance. So I was truly shocked to find out that my husband, Mark, had been cheating. I seriously doubted it, thinking, no way, no way. Was it just my overactive imagination? But this carelessness was no good. I was cheated on by my husband. It was shocking when I learned the truth, but his attempts to hide the affair were so pathetic. I quickly recovered from the shock, and then my love faded away like salt dissolving. Cheating, huh? Surprisingly, right? People can be like that, huh? Well, there are people like that. It's quick to recover from shock, huh? How lame was it? Tell me about it. All right, let me reflect on what happened to me. At that time, we were both 45 years old and had been married for 15 years. We had one child, a 13-year-old son. There was nothing particularly noteworthy about us. We were just an ordinary family. The only real concern at the time was that our son was going through a pronounced rebellious phase. Our once affectionate and adorable son suddenly became distant. Oh my, what should we do? This must be the rebellious phase, my husband and I would say to each other, puzzled. We were just an ordinary family. My husband was serious about his work and took good care of our family. However, the moment we started living separately, our ordinary days came crashing down. It was decided that my husband would transfer to a different location just as our son was about to start his second year of middle school. My husband initially felt lonely and suggested we all move together, but our son insisted he didn't want to transfer schools. I was worried about the financial impact of quitting my job. Also, I was concerned about the health of my mother-in-law and my father who lived nearby. After discussing how to handle all these issues, we decided my husband would move alone. We were told the assignment would be about 3 years. I thought we could manage that length of time. I was confident because we had been married for 15 years. My husband wasn't what you'd call a handsome middle-aged man, but just an ordinary guy with a bit of a belly. I worried about his lifestyle habits, but I never worried about him having an affair. Yet he had an affair quite easily. It's strange, isn't it? We had a good relationship and a lovely child. Why would he want to have an affair? Was it because he was living alone? Was it because he was lonely living alone? Or was it simply a release of his desires? Either way, it's not acceptable. When my husband first started living alone, he called me every day, sent messages to our son on WhatsApp, and came home every weekend, staying until the last possible moment. But gradually his attachment to me and our son started to fade. The phone calls decreased, and he sent fewer messages to our son on WhatsApp. His visits, which used to be on Saturday mornings, became Saturday afternoons, then evenings, and then Sunday mornings. Eventually, he stopped coming home on weekends altogether. At first, my husband's excuses were along the lines of, "I have to work this weekend and was invited to play golf by a coworker." But gradually, his excuses became more half-hearted. When I called on a night he claimed to be working overtime, he would say things like, "I'm so tired from golf. It's so expensive, too." So around this time, I started thinking, something's not right with my husband. But at that time, I wasn't suspicious yet. I was just really worried about him. I wonder if he had mental problems at his new assignment. Looking back now, I was such a caring wife, right? I was genuinely worried about my husband. But even in my earnestness, I couldn't help but wonder, are you really okay? Are you eating properly? You haven't caught a cold, have you? It's the weekend, but maybe I should come over there. I'll prepare lots of meals in advance for you. You should rest. If our son has no plans, I'll bring him along. As I spoke these gentle words over the phone, he suddenly seemed flustered. And then he said something like this.
No, it's better if you don't come over here. I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to worry, but I actually got a fever since this morning. When I went to the hospital, they said it's something contagious. So you shouldn't come here. I'm sorry, but I don't want to risk infecting you and our son.
He hurriedly started acting like a sick person. He had seemed fine until then, but now he even started coughing. Yeah, it definitely seemed suspicious. I could feel that he didn't want me to come. The timing was suspicious, but maybe it's true. I understand the feeling of not wanting to inconvenience others with my own whims. Yeah, that's right. Maybe I'm being a bit suspicious too. But maybe he really does care about us. Caught in this dilemma, I ended up just thinking about my husband for now. But the next weekend he claimed poor health again and didn't come home. He also refused when I suggested stopping by his place of assignment. Then the following week he insisted he had to work on this day off, so I said, I'll go to your place while you're at work. It's okay if you're not there, I'll cook and clean. But the night before on Friday he called and said,
Sorry, I'm not feeling well. It's a serious illness, so you can't come over here.
Once again, he refused my visit over the phone. By this point, I wasn't just worried, I was suspicious. I became convinced that something was going on. It bothered me, so I decided to investigate. I really wanted to look into it myself, but due to the distance and lack of time, I hired a detective. Honestly, it was quite an expense, and I was taken aback. But true to their profession, they quickly and reliably gathered evidence. My husband was cheating on me. He was semi-cohabiting with someone. Whoops, I didn't realize the evidence was gathered so quickly. They really went all out with the affair, huh? Living together part-time, huh? Is that why he refused visits? But seriously, an affair and part-time cohabitation, isn't that the worst? It really is the worst. That part, the part-time cohabitation. They're really immersed in their affair. And what really shook me was the identity of my husband's mistress. I had assumed he was cheating with some young girl because affairs usually involve younger women, right? But my husband's mistress is about the same age as me. Well, actually, she might even be older. That's the impression I got. What you might call an older woman. She wasn't like a glamorous beauty, just an ordinary middle-aged woman. Well, yeah. If I were to say she had quite a big chest, I wonder if she had a fuller chest compared to my flat chest. It's not like I felt defeated by that, but somehow it really irritated me. What really bothers me is what I feel insecure about. No, actually, she has what I wanted the most. And he's having an affair with someone like that. I couldn't help but think. I couldn't forgive him. I was burning with anger. I understand how you feel, but calm down. It'll be okay. Human worth isn't determined by chest size. I get it. It's natural to hate cheating itself, but feeling like you lost to this person especially is unforgivable, right? I'm sorry for getting upset. No, the fact that my husband betrayed me and our son, indeed I was most angry about this matter, but somehow I felt even more frustrated. I thought, what am I going to do with this husband? Should I let him do as he pleases, or boil him, or fry him? But while I was pondering these things, my husband took action first. One day he called me with a heavy voice and made a ridiculous proposal.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, what's wrong with you? Another cold? Well then, I won't be able to come to your place this week either. That cold of yours, it's contagious, right? You're always falling ill every week. It must be tough.
Yeah, that's right. I've been feeling unwell again. So I actually went to the hospital the other day.
Hospital? You've been going there before, right?
Oh no, this time I went for a detailed examination. The stomach issues have been persisting.
Oh, I see. Is that so?
Well, about that result, they said I only have 6 months left. There's nothing that can be done.
Wait, what? You have only 6 months left?
Yeah, that's right. So could you please divorce me? I don't want to burden you and our son with my illness.
Divorce? But we're a family. Shouldn't we face illness together?
I don't want to steal your time. That's why I've decided to quietly leave on my own. Please grant me this final selfish request.
Well, if you insist that much.
Thank you, Sarah. Now about the division of assets in the divorce. Since I can't work anymore, could I get a bit more? Medical expenses are no joke. Also, I can't afford child support for our son. I have no savings or inheritance. Please, forgive me.
So there won't be any division of assets or child support because you can't work? I guess that means you have no intention of paying alimony either.
There won't be any alimony, right? It's inevitable when it comes to life.
I see, but I'm a bit confused right now, so I'll organize my feelings and think things through after this.
Oh, sorry for bringing this up suddenly, but let's proceed with the divorce for now. I'll send the divorce papers. Take care of our son. I hope he finds happiness.
The above was the conversation exchanged between my husband and me. What do you think? Quite something, right? Did he lie about having 6 months to live to smoothly get a divorce? And then skipping out on alimony and child support? Are you serious? But there's a very low probability that it's true. Are you sure about that? Yeah, I'm fine. My husband is as healthy as can be. Actually, I recently received the results of my husband's health checkup, and he seems perfectly healthy. His triglyceride levels were a bit high, though. So the story about my husband having 6 months to live earlier was a blatant lie. I wonder why my husband thought he could get away with such a lie. Or maybe he thought he could deceive me like that. Do you think I'm being seriously underestimated here? It really got me furious. Besides, isn't this just too cowardly? Isn't it too lame? Isn't it too pathetic? If you cheated and had a change of heart, then apologize clearly and show some sincerity. My anger was all over the place, and the last bit of love I had for my husband shattered into pieces. I thought, I'll be mean to him. I'll make him regret it. About a week after that phone call announcing his terminal illness, I called my husband in the middle of the day while he was at work. He didn't answer his smartphone, probably because he was busy, but I managed to talk to him by calling his office.
What the hell, Sarah? Calling me at work? You called the office directly? Did you say something to my boss? He was looking at me weirdly.
Well, you didn't answer your smartphone. By the way, are you still working, even though you only have 6 months to live?
Oh, well, I have to hand over my duties. Even if I'm sick, it's irresponsible to quit so easily.
I see. You're so dutiful, but it's okay. You can prioritize your health and quit right away.
Huh?
I explained to your boss earlier that you only have 6 months left to live, and that you're not in a state to work anymore.
What? Why would you do that? Why would you do something like that without asking me?
What? But it's true, isn't it? Or are you saying it's not? You can't work, so you can't pay for our son's child support, right?
Oh, yes, but work isn't that simple.
What? It's unthinkable for a company to overwork a sick person. I'll report this to the labor union.
No, calm down. Let's talk about this later. I have work to do now.
Yes, right. The handover. Oh, and I also thanked your boss for that other thing.
That other thing? Did you tell him something else?
Oh, you know, the thing. About Ashley from your office taking care of you while you were away.
What? How do you know about her?
That's not important. Anyway, I told your boss that Ashley was living with you and taking care of you. I thanked him for that too. I said, your company is very caring.
You told my boss that Ashley was coming to my house?
Yes, because it's true, isn't it? I even have proof photos.
Ugh.
I'm really laying it on thick. I revealed everything to his boss so smoothly. His mistress was a woman named Ashley from the same workplace, revealing their relationship and punishing both at the same time. Nice. Yes, since his affair partner was someone from his workplace, I thought this would be an easy way to get revenge. The boss was really surprised. He was also surprised that my husband was practically living with Ashley. Because actually, Ashley had a strong relationship with the boss, too. By the way, the boss is divorced and single, and Ashley is single, too. They were even talking about promises of remarriage or whatnot. Well, setting aside the romantic chaos among these middle-aged men and women, my husband was left speechless by my report. But I didn't stop there. I dealt another blow. Also, I explained the situation to his parents, so both his father and mother were surprised. You're no good. Keeping such an important thing a secret like this.
Did you also tell my parents? Why would you do something like that on your own?
But aren't we getting divorced? Naturally, we should inform each other's parents about the divorce. And then it leads to being asked about the reason for the divorce, right? I just answered honestly when I was asked.
I didn't want to make my parents anxious. Don't do things on your own.
But it's better to tell the truth. Well, if the reason for the divorce was something like infidelity, I understand the feeling of wanting to keep it a secret. But it's about life and death, so it can't be helped.
Ugh.
So your mom says she'll come to see you right away. She says she'd bring you home and take care of your recovery properly. I also arranged for relatives to be informed and to arrange for a car. It's really heartwarming that everyone is worried about you. They might be arriving there soon. They might even come to pick you up at your workplace. The call ended abruptly here. I was really frantic. Excuses to the bosses, excuses to my parents, and now excuses to relatives too? That's too many tasks. He's telling strange lies to escape responsibility. And on top of that, telling such a heart-wrenching lie as having 6 months to live. Honestly, I couldn't forgive the affair itself, of course, but abandoning any attempt to make up for what he did. This cowardly way of doing things made me the most angry. Also, abandoning responsibility for our son. So while my husband was in disarray, I promptly submitted a divorce application. Furthermore, I decided to move to ensure we no longer had to live together. Actually, I did hesitate about moving, because I thought it was selfish of me to separate my son from his friends during his high school years. But my son, he encouraged me.
I'll be fine. I can stay connected with my friends on social media, and I'll make new friends at the new school,
he said. And he followed me saying that. Even though lately my son seemed annoyed with me, he said I don't have to rely on such a betraying father.
I'll do my best. I'm okay with not going to high school and working instead, he said.
I ended up crying. But I want to give my promising son as many choices as possible. So I will work even harder than before to support the path my son likes. Of course, I've properly demanded child support from that betrayer. My son is such a good kid. Even though he's in his rebellious phase and acts tough, there's love in his heart. I momentarily forgot about my husband due to my son's good story. What happened? Did he show accountability and explain? Well, after our call ended, my husband was first summoned by his boss to explain what happened, I heard. Was his diagnosis real? And what kind of relationship does he have with Ashley? So at this point, my husband confessed that the diagnosis was a lie and apologized. But it seems he denied having any relationship with Ashley. He brushed it off as a misunderstanding on my part. But I saw through it all along, so I sent a registered letter to my husband's workplace. It arrived the next day. In the end, my husband was called in again by his boss, questioned thoroughly, and it seems the truth about the affair was exposed. As a result of the workplace affair, both my husband and Ashley faced consequences. They were transferred to separate locations, so it caused quite a stir among his colleagues. And so his former colleagues naturally began to question this transfer. After all, he was transferred with a plan for 3 years, but returned within just 1 year. Moreover, there wasn't any particular promotion involved either, so his colleagues started investigating the reason for his transfer. Apparently he had an affair, lied about having 6 months to live, and tried to evade divorce alimony and child support. This was quickly found out. Now, my husband is like a sitting duck at work. And as for my in-laws and relatives who rushed over out of concern for him, their deep affection for him made his actions and lies unforgivable, and he was immediately disowned by both his parents and relatives. His parents were particularly furious and said,
"Don't even show up at family events. We won't leave you any inheritance either."
That's what they told him. My husband begged for forgiveness on his knees, but it seems he wasn't forgiven. In the end, my husband returned from his new assignment and ended up living alone in the house where our family of 3 used to live together.
I'm lonely, so please come back. I cheated because I felt lonely. As long as you, Sarah, and our son are by my side, I'll be fine. Let's continue to live happily as a family of 3.
Abandoned by his parents and relatives, and now looked at with suspicion at work, my husband must have thought it was his last hope when he reached out to me and our son. However, I refused, of course. Even our son said,
You're no longer my father. I now only consider my mother as my family.
With these words, we decisively cut ties with my husband. Even though he's my son's biological father, I ended up making a painful decision. And so my heart ached just a little. Oh, by the way, it turned out my husband's 6-month life expectancy was a lie, so I demanded alimony from him. I also received proper division of assets, and, of course, he agreed to pay child support for our son. I also received compensation safely from Ashley. You see, Ashley actually had quite a bit of debt and was planning to have my husband pay it off. In other words, she was plotting marriage fraud. She was deeply involved with the boss for the same reason. I thought, Ashley, what a wicked woman. I heard there were other employees who fell into Ashley's clutches. She's truly cunning, isn't she? I wonder how many people she deceived with those charms. So my husband was having an affair with such a woman. Because she demanded money, is that why my husband told such a lie? I guess my husband was also deceived, but it's pathetic that he was easily fooled by her allure. Yeah, why did Mark cheat on me? Was it love? I was curious about that, but I realized that being deceived can lead to cheating. But that doesn't mean I can sympathize with him. After all, my husband betrayed me and our son and even tried to deceive us. I'll never sympathize or forgive him. From now on, I'll live for my son's sake. I'll do my best not to let my son become like that scumbag. I feel relieved after talking about it. I could reaffirm how much of a scumbag my husband is, and I feel my decision was right. Thank you all for listening to my story. After cheating during his business trip and then telling the despicable lie of having 6 months to live, my husband abandoned all responsibilities as both a husband and a father. However, I could never forgive a husband who would resort to such cowardly tactics. That's why lying results in losing both trust and purpose. It's clear that nothing will remain afterward, and that's what I made sure to convey firmly to my husband. Next to me is my kind-hearted son. I truly wish for the 2 of us to be happy. It is impossible to be happy and to make people happy with a life obtained by lying, because that happiness is just a lie. No matter how you struggle, it's an unattainable illusion.